I've already shared the impact that Ed Griffin's work has had on my life, first by giving me my life's mission when I discovered the Fed and what it did and why the world needed to understand it. And because I was on his list, down the line, I ended up hearing about World Without Cancer. And it just went by me, went by me, went by me. And then 2 summits ago, my wife was diagnosed with cancer. And because I was on Ed's list, I was able to find out about alternative treatments. And if you've had a chance to see my wife, meet my wife, you would never know that for the last 2 years, she's been fighting cancer and winning, without having to go through all the horrific things, that, you know, the treatments that we equate with cancer. So it was because of Ed and his work. And I would have never known it if it wasn't for being on that list. And so after those 2 experiences where the institution of money and the Federal Reserve System trusted and then exposed, and then the medicine system trusted and then exposed, it made me wonder, what else don't I know? And so Ed, because of his work as an investigative journalist, documentary filmmaker, and a guy that's just been around long enough to study a lot of subjects at great depth, has put together a really outstanding faculty. In fact, I had another chance. I went to his Freedom Force Congress 2 years ago and got exposed to some things, and then actually got involved in the organization, and then have been helping him to organize this Red Pill project. And so this last Congress I ended up going to, and it was all about climate change. I didn't know anything about climate change. Felt like it was a very controversial subject, but it was just kind of off to the side. Didn't think it had anything to do with anything I was really interested in. But then I found out some things about it from credible sources, and it was shocking. Like most of the things I find out when I go digging around, there's an agenda behind what's on the surface. So anyway, so for me, you know, I'm going to the Red Pill Expo because I want to go find out what else I don't know. And there's very few places in a world of fake news and propaganda and all these hidden agendas that I feel I can go where I have a better than average chance of getting good information that's well researched. And I trust Ed, I trust his judgment, and if he puts people in a room, I want to go hear what they have to say. And it was really interesting because we were talking, we recorded a little promotion with Robert Kiyosaki, who's also a speaker there, and Robert had actually had a vacation scheduled in Hawaii, and Ed called him and said, would you come speak at my conference? Well, when are the dates? Right here. Oh, I've got a vacation scheduled. I will rearrange my schedule so that I can be at your conference. We asked him, Robert, why would you do that? Because when G. Edward Griffin asks you to do that, then I'm going to rearrange everything and be there. And I would really encourage you, just based on the impact that Ed and his work has had on my life, and it's deeply, deeply touching. I mean, it's not just, this is like life and death stuff. It's heavy stuff, your life's purpose and then your wife's life. And that's the impact it's had on me. I don't know if that's what will happen for you, but it could, because I'm pretty sure that most of us have a lot of things in common. We have the Federal Reserve in common. I don't think there's anybody in the world that isn't touched by it. I think most of us have probably been touched in some way, shape, or form by cancer. I'm pretty sure a lot of the other things going on in the world that I'm not even aware of yet, that I'm about to be enlightened on, probably touch me in ways I don't understand. 2008 was a case study in being blindsided by something that was out there that I didn't understand. So to Mike Manfredi's point, we have tried to make the summit something that gives you a chance to see a bigger picture. Some of the things they're going to be covering is outside the purview of investor and summit, but it's something I think that we would all benefit from, because at the end of the day, like we did last year, if you don't have your health, if you don't have your freedom, if you don't have some of the issues, doesn't matter how thrifty, how hardworking you are, how creative you are, how talented you are, if there's things outside of the system that are going to steal your health or steal your freedom, then the things that we work for don't matter, and the next generation is really going to have hard go of it. So I'm going to be there. I encourage all of you to be there. I've never been to Bozeman, Montana, so I get to check that off my bucket list right after I add it.
Well, and the first time in history, someone is going to fly from Hawaii to Bozeman and back in 3 days. I don't think that's ever happened. So, and it'll be
I mean, if it's good enough for Robert Kiyosaki, I'm just saying.
Ed, anything you want to add about that?
Well, there's very little I could add to that. I think Russ's personal experience is also it's it's very interesting. It's powerful. It's very humbling to me to think that I had a small role in that. In fact, that is my answer to one of the earlier questions about, what is the thing that motivates you? And when I hear stories like that, I think, my God, my life was maybe not so wasted after all. But no, I mean, you all get the male gets that feeling at mid-age. You say, well, what happened to me? I was going to conquer the world, and here I am in the rat race. So anyway, this is not a personal thing with me. This is something that I think we all have. We have this deep impulse to do something worthwhile. We want to, a common theme that keeps coming up in this group over and over again is how do we make the world a better place for the next generation and the one after that. Those conversations usually get more intense as you get older. I mean, when I was a kid, I never even thought about that. But the older you get, the more you begin to think, what is your life all about? And why are you here? And are you really making a difference? Or are you just here, a useless eater, as Henry Kissinger likes to describe us? So anyway, all of that points to the issue that, well, what are you going to do about it? You know about all these problems, and you're horrified by most of them, and you go around telling people about them, and you're spreading the word, but the issue always remains, well, what are you going to do about it? And so behind all of these heavy confrontations that we have over the continuing society that we need in order to enjoy all of our dreams and plans that I was mentioning a moment ago, underlying that all is we have to have a society in which the individual is valued, and the individual has to be valued at a level higher than the group. And now we're talking now about this intellectual or ideological conflict between individualism and collectivism. This is not a place to go into that. I think I did talk about that last time, didn't I, Russ, when I was here?
Last year, yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I was afraid people would go to sleep on it, but they didn't. And I'm glad to see that, because in those two words, individualism versus collectivism, is really the dynamic of almost all of our problems in the world today. We have succumbed to this ideology, this idea X. Most people don't even know that they believe it. They don't even know that it's already conquered most of the world. The idea that the group is more important than the individual, and the individual must be sacrificed, if necessary, for the greater good of the greater number. And so with that philosophy, tyranny can grow and claim that it's virtuous, because everything it does, no matter how horrible it is, they say, well, it was necessary for the greater good of the greater number. And so that relates to the Red Pill Expo, because we are hoping to bring together so many people who have taken the red pill, meaning they have understood the illusion, they've seen through it, and they've seen the reality, and it's ugly, but they want to do something about it. And they don't know what to do. They think, well, write your congressman or something stupid like that, okay, we'll just go hide. We'll get rid of our Social Security number so they'll never know we're here, things like that. And so what we want to do is help, first of all, bring all these people together that have these red pills that they have taken. And naturally, when you get the vision of a reality in one of these important things, you want to share it. It's just impulse, But sharing it isn't enough. So what I'm hoping will come out of this, and it's nothing that you can force on it, is a coalition among all people of all these different perspectives. And we found that these issues cross all boundaries. We have in our movement now, we have people from, I think the last count was 75 countries, or maybe it's even higher than that now. All cultures, all races, all religions, all genders, all economic brackets, all lifestyles, and the only thing they all have in common, which is important, is that they understand that the individual is the cornerstone of society, not the collective group. And they understand that democracy is probably one of the worst forms of government and all that sort of thing, which is shocking when people hear it for the first time, because they realize that in the name of the group, very unscrupulous leaders can say, I speak for the group. I represent the people. This is the people's party, and we will now declare that you must do this in the name of the people, and it's that kind of a game. So, getting back to the red pill, we've wandered a lot from that. Underneath that, I'm hoping that when people gather together, and each of them with their own ideas, their own red pills, their own issues, they'll understand that underneath all of those is this common denominator, that that's a problem that needs to be solved in all cases. And I'm looking forward to the natural evolution of a true movement of freedom-minded people who had never thought that they had anything in common before. So anyway, it's going to be a great experiment, and already we've seen a lot of energy and enthusiasm for it, and I invite you, I urge you, I hope you will come and become part of this great experiment in Bozeman, Montana. So our little slogan is Bozeman or bust, so we'll see you there.
All right. Griffin.